Welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Shannon Penrod.
And I'm Nancy Jackson.
And I'm so thrilled to be here with you today.
I'm thrilled too. Something's
dropping
falling.
things.
You're dropping
I'm
things.
throwing things around here.
Okay.
It's how I know I'm at home.
Right.
But thrilled to be here with you today. I'm really excited about our guest that's going to be joining us in a little while.
We have a great artist and animator named Dani Bowman, who is on the autism spectrum and has a lot of achievements. So we're going to talk to her a little bit later.
Very exciting. But there's a lot of stuff to cover in the news this week. And I know in particular that there was something that you were very interested in and excited about.
Yeah, I had seen on the Disability Scoop that the Autism Society wants to bring together all of the major autism organizations to establish a series of joint goals to have a summit. Now, I've been saying this for a couple of years that I want to do a summit. I've talked to Talk About Curing Autism, Lisa Ackerman. I've talked to Holly Robinson-Peete about it. And I think it's long overdue. I think the way that sort of the Clinton Global Initiative tackles global problems like global warming and AIDS. I think that if we had all of the major autism groups come together, and I would certainly love to see ACT Today as the executive director of that be part of it.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like ACT Today is unique in that we provide direct treatment to families. So we're really working with the families. We're not on the research side, and we do awareness, but we don't spend our money on awareness. We, you know, if I go in to do interviews on media, or Dr. Graham Boucher does, we talk about the need for early intervention, but we don't focus on that. What we focus on is direct treatment for families, ABA therapy, tuition advocacy, assisted technology. So I feel like I'm very much in touch because of the fact of our grant system and what the needs are.
Absolutely.
So I saw on Disability Scoop that the Autism Society had called for this, and Scott Badesh, who's president of the Autism Society, and I thought you and I might set up an interview for him to come on.
Absolutely.
And he said the infighting that a lot of times characterizes the autism community needs to stop. Until we come together, we're not going to be able to move the needle on enhancing autism services.
Love it.
I agree completely. So I wrote on the blog that we would love to be a part of this. I said, as one of the few organizations that offers treatment services and support, ACT Today wants to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. We would love to participate.
Wonderful.
So let's call him, get him on the show, and we can talk about it.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. I think it's well past time that that kind of a summit needs to happen, and I want you sitting at that table.
I want to be there too. And apparently Autism Speaks had a spokesman that said the organization looks forward to joining this conversation about how we can all work together. Autism Speaks on the blog got a lot of, you know, we've got a lot of vocal people on this blog saying that Autism Speaks has gobbled up some of the other organizations with their media machine. But we have to remember, I think, that because of that media machine, there's a lot more awareness. So I think rather than pointing fingers and saying, you know, you're on this side, you're on this side, didn't we all start nonprofits, and don't we all run nonprofits to help the autism community? Isn't that the goal, Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to intent. You know, what is the intent? And people have different areas that they're focusing on, because there's lots of areas to focus on. Like you were saying, you know, your organization, you have nothing against research. You love research, but that's not what your organization does.
No, and I do believe
today.
And I do believe there is not enough of an emphasis on the children out there today that need services, and particularly the older kids that are aging upwards into the job force. I'm very excited to talk to Dani Bowman, our guest today, because she is a young person with real skills and talents, and she is an example of how our kids can make a living, how they can be contributing members of the society.
Which is a wonderful, wonderful.
So that was particularly of interest. So Scott, we're going to be calling you. We're going to be asking you on the show, and I want to know when this is happening. I'm there.
And like I said, I want you to be there. I want your voice to be heard there as a
And
parent.
I'd like you to come too. So let's all get all
I'm not saying
together.
I won't, but I always say I like having you on my team, and you're a great spokesperson. So I'm thrilled if you're there.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, a couple of other things that came out in the news this week. One in particular that I wanted to talk. Well, two in particular that I want to talk about. There's a new study that came out that's titled "Flame Retardant Linked to Autism Genetically Susceptible Animals."
Right.
Now, I always like to put things through the filter of saying, okay, this is research, and nobody needs to go off a deep end here, but the kinds of things that they were looking for the first time, scientists have reported that the environment and genetics can work together to create autism-like symptoms in mice exposed in the womb to a flame retardant.
Okay.
And so that's really what we're talking about. Their new study, Human Molecular Genetics, they took female mice that were, and this is one of the other interesting things about this, that they only did this with female mice. They didn't do it with male mice.
Okay.
They exposed, the mothers were more susceptible to, more genetically susceptible to having a child that was having autism-like symptoms.
Okay.
Get my thoughts here together. They had other mice that were socially impaired, so they then exposed those mother mice to some flame retardant and saw that there was a correlation with those children, those mice children, the female mice children, exhibiting those behaviors.
And last week we talked about the fact that at, I believe, Caltech, they had exposed mice, pregnant female mice, to, they had caused immune dysregulation.
Right.
They had exposed them to viruses and certain immune issues that compromise the immune system. And similarly, the young mice displayed autism-like symptoms.
Right.
And then they went ahead and did some bone marrow transplants, which I can't imagine doing in a mouse, but you know, it's amazing what medicine can do. And when they did the bone marrow transplants with some healthy cells, the mice no longer displayed the symptoms.
Right.
So very similar in that, you know, the research is being done on mice that whatever they're doing to the pregnant female mice is showing in the offspring autism-like symptoms. So this would go with what a lot of leading experts are saying, which is that this is what we're seeing today with this epidemic is not true autism as was diagnosed 30 years ago, where a child never developed properly, where they never had speech or language, but where there is normal development and then suddenly regression around the age between a year and a half, a year and 3 years of age.
Yeah.
So that possibly these genetic factors are interacting with the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, more research needs to be done. And we did talk about the bone marrow with the mice last week, and we were saying, you know, we are not at the point where anybody should be going out and asking for a bone marrow transplant for their children, nor are we at the point where we're saying you need to be hyper vigilant about flame retardants. We're not at that point yet, although I will say this, that, you know, if a bone marrow, I mean, we're talking about a huge, huge deal that is costly and potentially dangerous. So nobody's going to run out and do that. But if you're at the mall today and you're going to pick out a pair of pajamas and you have the choice between the very tight-fitting ones that are not flame retardant and the ones that are loose fitting that have flame retardant, you might want to make a choice.
Yeah, just as because the evidence is showing that toxins we do think play a role. I mean, I would say we could say with certainty that toxins in the environment play a role in autism, that you might want to go green in your cleaning products.
Right.
You might not want to put in carpeting when your baby, you know, when you have a newborn.
Right.
You might not want to have lead around. You know, these are common sense things,
These
right?
are choices that you know you're going to make at some point anyway, and you can make a choice. That doesn't mean you have to go off a deep end.
No.
But the truth of the matter is that, you know, when they make loose-fitting pajamas now, they dip them in a flame retardant, and there's a reason why, because children got burned in house fires.
Yes.
I'm just saying, you know, I want my child to be safe, but I can put him in a tight-fitting pajama, and that is the choice that we we make in our house. You know, but that's our choice.
That's your choice.
So, yeah, that is my choice.
So once again, we're not recommending any of these things, but these are in the Schaefer Autism Reports, our friends, and we encourage you to subscribe to that, get the latest news, because to be informed, I think, is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other interesting thing that I find this fascinating, the big headlines all this week is the tooth fairy have the key to autism.
Yeah.
This is what everybody was talking about. And so if you don't know about this, the University of Texas Health Science Center is currently conducting a study in which they're examining baby teeth with the intention to gain more understanding about autism. Now, why baby teeth? Because they're taking these precious baby teeth that we all love and adore, and they're grinding them down to a fine powder and putting them through a series of tests to see what the environmental toxin load is on the teeth. Because previous to this, we've been doing testing on hair and blood, but that gives us like a snapshot in time of what's happening right now with a child with their current toxic load.
Okay.
But the baby teeth, when they're able to look at them and grind them down and really examine them, show a much longer period of time and exposure to potential toxins.
Now, are they calling for all people with autistic children that have baby teeth to send them in? How do you
that's
participate?
a really good question, because I was saying to Nancy before we started, I said, you know, I would hate to give up my son's baby teeth, which I'm not supposed to have because, you know, somebody came and took them, right? Wink, wink. And but I do have a stash of baby teeth that I would hate to give up, but in the name of science, to get information, I might be willing to do that. So we'll find out about that. But I want to state that the goal of the study is to find out whether genetics combined with environmental factors can trigger autism. So same neighborhood, but just taking baby teeth.
Okay. I'm willing to give up some of Wyatt's teeth.
So we'll find out.
I'll get him back from the tooth fairy. I'll call the I'll call him up.
Call the tooth fairy. All right. So in any case, we'll find out if they're taking donations.
Okay.
But $100,000 was given to the study by the Autism Speaks organization. So I think a notable thing.
A notable thing and a great thing that they are doing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So interesting things in the news and lots to unfold. We'll see as time goes by. But we should take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have the phenomenal, and I'm so excited about this, Dani Bowman.
I know. I think this is going to be great.
She's an incredible young woman, and she is going to join us when we come back, so stay tuned.
Okay.
This is part 1 of Dani Bowman's Inclusion Film Camp Adventure. We're flying down to Jacksonville, Florida.
Hello? Is there anybody there?
Excuse me. We are not recording yet. Just please get out of that dark room right away. We're going to record in just a second.
Whoops. I didn't mean to do that.
Hi, I'm Dani Bowman. I'm 16 years old and I'm autistic. I am fortunate to have the opportunity to teach animation to other teens with autism at Joey Travolta's Inclusion Film Camps this summer. I am excited to meet those of you that will be attending inclusion camps around the country. I am looking forward to meeting everybody, and for those of you who can't make the camp, I'm publishing a video blog so that everyone can enjoy the camp this summer. The most exciting part of the camp is I'm going to teach students about animation.
It's Gemstar! Hooray! I'm going to be an Ichiban for being animated at camp!
Excuse me, Gemstar. You're filling the entire screen with your face. You're driving the audience crazy.
Don't be silly. I'm way too cool into the camp. I wanted to be animated at camp.
I know, but that's enough already. Now you are wasting everyone's time. Now please go away or else.
Or else what?
I won't ever draw you again if you continue to make all that fuss. So please move away from the camera.
Oh well. I have to go, so see you later.
Well, sorry about that. Because Gemstar got so excited that he wants to be animated at camp. But it's awfully rude of him to interrupt my video recording. Alright then, back to the business. For those of you who live in Jacksonville, Florida, our first stop, I can't wait to see you folks. I know Joey Travolta has some really great things planned. Here's a little clip of the camp from last year. Enjoy!
Say we have a master and then a close-up.
This year is gonna be awesome, okay? Awesome, awesome, awesome.
It's good to be back.
Going to the mall this afternoon? Yeah, what are you gonna be doing?
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Just being yourself. Where'd that come from?
You're fired.
Everything was gone, it would just be an empty wall. So it's gonna be a 10-person team. Yes.
Has this thing on it, you move it around. But with this, I can kind of walk around and do roll shots.
I'm on TV.
Well, we're here now. We're back. And we have a very special guest with us today. Yes. And I want you to know that Danielle Bowman, who is our guest, I had an intro that I wrote, and I sent it to her, and she added to it. She beefed it up, because you have a lot of accomplishments, Dani. Dani is a 17-year-old animator with her own animation company that she started when she was 11 years old, who is on the autism spectrum. And Dani teaches animation at Joey Travolta's Inclusion Film Camps, which we know all about Joey's camps. She's illustrated 2 books, Dani and Goliath and Richie and Goliath, which our sons happen to love. And she's working on other books at the moment. She premiered 2 animated shorts, Mr. Raindrop and the Namazu at San Diego Comic-Con. And now she's also traveling to Ohio this week to teach animation at Ohio Center for Autism and Low Incidence Ocali at Columbus, Ohio. Wow, what a resume. Welcome, Dani.
Why, thank you so much for sending me into the channel. I'm so excited.
Well, we're excited to have you here.
It's thrilling to have you here.
Now, we first met you through Inclusion Films that Joey Travolta runs, and you have been working there for some time, right?
Why, thanks.
Yeah. So tell us how you got started in doing animation.
Okay, then. I started my own animation company when I was about 6 years old, and by using MS Paint, Adobe Photoshop, and PowerPoint presentations. This is all that, excuse me, I need to rephrase it.
That's okay, dear.
Take your time.
This is all that was available to me at that time.
Okay.
I also used to do stop motion with a home camera. And when I moved to my aunt and uncle's house when I was 11 years old, they are pretty amazed of what I could do with those programs.
I bet.
And so they started me on Toon Boom Animation, and I've been upgrading ever since. I told my aunt and uncle when I was 11 that I wanted to start my own animation company, and with their help of my company was officially launched at age 14.
Yeah, what an amazing array of accomplishments. So now you're 17 years old, and we were talking about Dani the other day and how incredible you are, but we were trying to voice it's a specific kind of animation that you do, right? What kind of animation is it that you do?
Well, I mainly do digital animation with the animation package I use is called Toon Boom Studio 7. I can also work on different animations such as traditional animation, stop motion, and CG animation like the ones on Autodesk Maya.
Pretty incredible. It's all over my head.
This is like another language to us, Dani. Shannon and I aren't up to speed on all this, but you're clearly just so well educated in this area, and you've got so many talents in this area. Now, you illustrated with animation 2 books. Dani and Goliath was the first one, correct? And Dani and Goliath is about a little boy named Dani who is being bullied, and he meets a great little bull, a young bull named Goliath, who helps him. And then Richie and Goliath is about a sea turtle who also meets up with Goliath, and he was being bullied. And how can you tell us about these books and the theme and how this kind of came about?
Yeah, indeed. So it came up like this. Joey and his friend Richard Welch always wanted to produce the book series together. And when Joey and I met, he got the idea to go with the books and allowed me to illustrate them. Joey and I were always like to be involved in the anti-bullying campaigns. And thank you for just talking about the books. I think you just got a little mixed up on the first book. Like Goliath was bullied when he was in the first book. Goliath was, as a calf, was bullied by the other bulls, and he met a boy named Dani who also felt the same way, and together became friends, and together face to face against the bullies and deal with them.
That's correct.
Yep.
I did forget that aspect, that the bull, little Goliath, was also bullied, and as I recall, instead of going like a big bull sound like moo, he went meow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, indeed. I heard about that.
And then when when Goliath met Dani, and he started to defend Dani against the boy bully at school, all of a sudden he let out a big boo, and scared that bully away.
Yeah, indeed.
And taught him that it's really not cool to bully, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. Now, do you think a lot of young people on the autism spectrum get bullied?
I think so, especially with me on schools, including high school, like locking you out of Flint Ridge, locking you out of high school.
Yeah.
Did you get bullied some? Dear?
Sometimes I do, but verbally, the boys just verbally bully me, but not physically bully me.
Okay. And how did that make you feel?
I felt like very upset, and it felt like I just want revenge against them.
It's really hard to experience.
But then you're such a talented, beautiful young woman. I bet you had a lot of friends too that really cared for you and really thought that wasn't cool for you to be bullied. And I bet you do have a lot of friends and family that are very proud of you.
My thanks.
Yeah. I certainly, you know what, if you were my daughter, I would be so proud of you.
I would too. I'm sure anybody would be proud of you.
No
You're
problem.
An awesome job. And then did you decide to do the second book just because the first one was so well received, or you had such a good time?
I think Joey Travolta just wanted me to work on this book. It's just his idea.
Okay.
But you liked the idea. Yeah.
Indeed.
Is it fun for you to illustrate books, children's books?
Of course, and it's kind of a little bit more on the, let me see, what do you call that? A little boring at first, but now then it just gets a lot more fun.
Yeah. And you got fans, too. When we saw you at the Autism Walk, that was the first time that I got to meet you. You were at a booth and you were drawing, and there were kids who were coming up who had read your books. Is it fun for you to meet kids who've read your books?
Of course. It's a lot fun, especially signing the books for them.
Yeah, I would bet that is.
Yeah, I mean, you're really a celebrity now.
I thank you.
Yeah, so you're out there signing books and meeting people that have read them, and, you're a noted illustrator now. I mean, you're getting famous, Dani.
Why, thank you.
Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break because we want to come back and find out about some of the other projects that you might be doing and the fact that you're teaching.
Yes.
And in the new intro you gave me, I see you've worked on a lot of, you've premiered 2 animated shorts.
I want to hear about Comic-Con, what Comic-Con was like, but we're going to take a break first.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, and we'll talk in between the break, and when we come back, we're going to ask you some more questions.
Oh, why, thank you so much. I just can't wait to answer more.
Okay, Dani, we'll be right back.
Welcome back.
We are here with Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy, and our special guest, Dani Bowman, who is a 17-year-old animator And Dani has her own animation company. She started when she was 11 years old. Dani is on the autism spectrum. She teaches animation at Joey Travolta's Inclusion Films. And we were just talking about her 2 books, Dani and Goliath and Richie and Goliath, that she illustrated. And people can get these books on Amazon, Dani, Amazon?
That's right, and also on my website at parlay-studios.com and their website called Pick a Lot of Kids.
Okay. Powerlightstudios.com and Pick a Lot of Kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also on Amazon.
Okay, and you're also working on a new book. What's that called?
I think the new book is called Rajalika by Elizabeth McCaw, and I just finished doing the illustrations, but it's not officially published yet.
Okay.
But it will be sooner or later.
Okay. And is there a Christmas Carol story that you're working on?
Yes, it's my original story, and I just got it finished as a rough draft, and I just printed out for people during the holiday time.
Okay.
Very fun. I'd like to see that.
That's going to be great.
And it's special for Parlay Animation Studios fans.
Okay, very cool. Now I want to know, because I think the Inclusion Films camp, you just did a camp
for military children down in San Diego.
Yes, and you're a teacher. What is that like, teaching for Inclusion Films?
What is it like teaching Inclusion Films? It makes me feel like I'm the teacher here, and I'm so.
Do you like it?
Yeah, of course. I'm so glad to be the teacher. Very proud of myself.
What do you like about it? What's really fun about it for you teaching?
Okay, what I really like about teaching animation to people on the spectrum is being able to teach other kids or young adults on the spectrum and watch them when they realize that they could do it.
Oh yeah, I can see where that would be really cool.
Yeah, do you find when you're teaching, Dani, that a lot of kids really don't know they have talent and then they learn they do?
That's right. They just really liked it.
Good. Did you have any important teachers in your life?
In my life, I do have important teachers, especially from La Cañada High School, and also from outside of school, including Art Center College of Design, Armory, at Old Pasadena and Woodbury University.
Okay.
And Summer Creative Workshop at Loyola Marymount University, and right now I'm going to attend at CalArts.
Oh, CalArts. So there are, I think you're hearing, there are a lot of resources. If you have a child on the spectrum that has talent, like Dani does, and my son is very artistic, and I would love for him to follow in the footsteps that you have taken. So I think there's a lot of resources for parents and for kids to explore, because you've found places that welcome you with open arms and that have really helped you learn this craft, haven't you, Dani?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
You know who we had on about a week ago? We had Deborah Husseini from the Art of Autism, and she was talking about you too, because that's another organization that you do things with as well, the Art of Autism, right?
Yeah, and I have known her, and I also known Carrie Bowers.
Yes, Carrie, whose son did the film Normal People Scare Me.
Right.
So wonderful, wonderful group of people and great work that they do. But I'm interested, Dani, you know, people don't know enough about autism. You have high functioning autism. What would you like for everybody to know about what it's like to have autism?
I think it is true. Having autism can be a big challenge for everyone if they're diagnosed with autism, especially the obstacles you have to face, such as learning social skills, dealing fears of the sounds, or snapping out of daydreaming. But the bright side is you will find a higher chance to find your talent. And also, don't forget that we are all different.
Absolutely.
And there's one thing. When you meet one person who has autism, you met one person on the spectrum. We are so different, and we also have different challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like all of us as human beings, Dani, are so different.
Yeah.
And all human beings have different challenges. And I hope that people that are watching today are realizing just what a remarkable young lady you are and the talent you have. And it would be such a shame if if that talent was hidden from the world. And I think by you being here today, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to watch you, and they're going to get inspired by you. You know what I mean? They're going to say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Wow, and I'm just so excited.
Yeah, and maybe some, you know, there might be some parents out there that are watching today that have, say, a child younger than you. You know, I'm even thinking about my son Wyatt. He's 10, and his talent is so great. I would love for him to be just like you at your age.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I'm interested. You mentioned daydreaming as something that happens sometimes. Do you feel like you daydream a lot, and is that where some of your ideas come from?
I daydream a lot to get a lot of ideas, but the drawback is my Aunt Sandy and Uncle Patrick wants me to get out of daydreaming because it feels like it makes me lack of social skills and make people think I'm strange or weird. But like I said, nobody's perfect.
Right. Nobody is perfect.
But do you get some of your ideas from when you daydream?
Yeah, I do get some ideas.
Okay.
And
for your books and for your animation. Yeah, I'm sure that daydreams are important for all of us. I know it's hard to control sometimes, but we all like to daydream, you know, and get, that's where a lot of our creativity comes from. And you're a very creative person.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, so we talked about what you would like people to hear about having autism. Is there any way that you, if you're talking to people now that are listening that are typical as opposed, you know, neurotypical, they're not on the autism spectrum, is there ways that those of us that aren't on the autism spectrum can be more understanding, more helpful? How could we do that?
I think helping us and understanding our lack of social skills would be a great, like for example, you see, if my schoolmates would see me by myself, maybe they could come and talk with me. We don't mean to be rude and or strange, we just don't know how to be social. But most of us really want to fit in just like everyone. And it would be pretty good if we could learn some small talk because we don't understand small talk.
And friends can help you to learn that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you have friends, a lot of friends in your world today, in your life today?
Yeah, mostly outside of high school. Because I don't really have much neurotypical friends in La Cañada High School, but I do have a lot of classmates.
Right. And so mostly outside of high school, in the world, in your art world, and people you meet?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Is it a large school that you go to, Dani?
Yes, La Cañada High School is pretty big.
Okay.
And are you going to be a senior this year? What grade are you in?
I just finished 11th grade, which is my junior year, and now I'm just moving on to senior.
Okay. And what do you want to do when you graduate from high school?
When I graduate from high school, I'm trying to go find the best university, and then I just have to keep doing more and more and more school over the years till I get every last of schools finished, and including graduate school, which means I will be a graduate school student, and then move on with my own animation company.
And what type of animation do you want to do? If you were to say, if you could have any dream you wanted of anybody you could be or any type of person you could be, sky, okay, there's no limit, okay, to this dream right now. Who would you like to be and what would you like to be? I'm not going to put words in your mouth. You tell me what you would like to accomplish in your life.
What I really like to accomplish in my life is, well, your question also means what your future plans is.
That's right. That's exactly it. So what are your future plans?
My animation company, Parlay Animation Studios, will become huge, like Walt Disney's animation studio or like Nickelodeon's animation studio. It's going to be pretty big. And however, I plan to include mostly people on the spectrum because I know how amazing we can do. My life's goal is to change the world's perception of autism and show the potential that autistic individuals like me have. Hopefully, we could produce some great animated features together.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
I mean, I have a feeling that you just might be the next big studio out there.
I think so.
And some of these, and animation is so popular today, obviously. I think there's a great market for it. You're a great talent. You know how to teach. And if anybody's out there listening that maybe, might want to fund Dani someday, or take her in under their arm and
produce a film.
Let's produce a movie. What are your favorite animated movies?
My favorite animated movies I really like, I just like some Pixar films. I like Pokemon movies. I like some animated films from UK, like Romeo and Juliet.
I love that.
You love that film.
That was a good film.
I do. My son Wyatt loves that film too.
And I also like one type of film called Rango, which won for Best Animated Feature.
That was a great, great animated movie.
Now, what is Spark Action, Dani?
Spark Action is a contest that allows people to do the speech to help out their animation, to help out their company in general.
Okay.
And I just won the California Youth Innovation Award.
Wow. That's pretty exciting.
Which this award helps me to hire people on the spectrum.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Well, congratulations for winning that. I have one more question for you. I love the title of your company, Power Light. Did you come up with that?
Of course I did.
And why? What about Power and Light? Why did you want to make that the name of your company?
Power Light, I just got it in my head, and there was a commercial inside, a flashlight commercial, while I was, it's very personal.
Oh, okay. We don't want to, tread on that if it's personal. That's a good thing to say.
It's the personal thing I just learned about Parlay Animation Studios name. It just comes from my game system name, my game system username.
Oh, okay.
When I used to have a Nintendo DS with me, and I just used to call myself Volt Girl, and I changed my name to Powerlight. I named it after my Nintendo DS username.
Okay.
Okay, that
Very
makes
cool.
sense. That makes sense.
Very cool.
Now, are you teaching any more this summer? Yeah,
Teaching more. I'm just teaching more.
Yeah.
Like you talked about, and I am talking about right now, is called the animation. It's a film camp in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, when will that be?
This next weekend.
Next weekend, okay.
I said next week.
Okay. Next week, okay.
Very cool.
So you'll be working with Joey Travolta and Inclusion Films, and you're going to be in Ohio teaching animation. And I'm sure if they go to the Inclusion Films website.
But this time, the animation camp is only going to be just about Parlay Animation Studios. It's going to be the first time ever Parlay Animation Film Camp.
So on your own film camp instead of Inclusion Films.
So it's your own
That's
film
pretty
camp.
exciting.
That is very exciting. Very exciting.
And we didn't ask about Comic-Con. Did you have a good time at Comic-Con?
Of course it is. When I first get inside the convention, I just looked in my eyes. It's really huge.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've never been. Was that your first time going?
It's my first time going to the convention.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you see any great characters that you'd always, heard about?
I see a lot of cosplays, and there's lots of good stuff. Like there's Hasbro section, Nintendo section. There are all kinds of costumes and some comic book booths.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That must have been really fun for you, I can imagine.
Very exciting. Dani, thank you so much for being with us. You've been so wonderful, and I'm so inspired by your story and the work that you do, and I know that it's inspiring to a lot of people out there watching.
Yeah, we're going to keep a watch on you, Dani. We're going to be following your career, staying in touch with you, and
cheering you on.
Cheering you on, because you're such a talent. You're such a delightful young woman, and we wish you nothing but the best of success. And we know your goal of inspiring people on the spectrum and showing the world what they're capable of. You're going to achieve that, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
With my pleasure. You're welcome.
Okay, sweetie.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with some information about what you're doing this weekend.
This weekend.
Pretty exciting.
Okay.
Nancy's got her own stuff going on. Stick with us. Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. We just finished talking with Dani Bowman, who was so wonderful.
Wasn't she great? I mean,
just delightful.
And this girl is so talented.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just to think of the talent in that young woman and how she's really taken that and turned it into a vocation. And I would not doubt that she goes on to make movies.
Absolutely.
You know.
And 17, come on. I mean, you know, this is intimidating sometimes for people who have been in lots of different media situations. I think it's always exciting to see a young person at that age being willing to take that on and come in here and be in the studio and speak with us.
Yeah.
Would be difficult for any 17-year-old.
Any 17-year-old.
She did a great job.
And every now and then she had to refer to her notes, but that was okay.
Right. You know, I mean, we do. I'm about to refer to my notes right now.
I refer to mine every minute.
Yeah, there we go.
And so you know, Shannon, I'm hoping we can include more individuals on the spectrum on this show, and I think it's really important that we show our viewers, we give them hope. You know, we've had Jesse Saperstein on, who wrote Atypical. He has Asperger's. We just had Dani on, and we've got a couple of other young people and individuals we're going to be bringing on to show you what can be done.
The faces of autism. We were talking about that earlier today because, you know, as Dani said, once you know one person on the autism spectrum, well, good for you, you know one person on the autism spectrum. But you've got a pretty big, exciting event coming up this weekend.
This weekend I'm going to be...
The 7th annual Back to School Autism Asperger Conference at the Pasadena Convention in Pasadena. It actually starts on the Friday, goes to the Saturday, and you're speaking on Saturday.
I'm speaking on Saturday at a special lunchtime session. My speech is called Waiting for Wyatt, A Journey Through Autism to Empowerment. And it's basically my personal story where I relate sort of my journey and my struggles, really, because I certainly had struggles in the beginning of Wyatt's, from not being able to get a diagnosis to just complete sheer terror that I felt at the things that were happening to my son, and wanting answers, and then finally getting them, and then yet the other journey to getting treatment and care, which is a whole other thing. And you know, you really wonder when you're going through that stage of this journey, you know, when our children are very young, sometimes you really say, can I survive this? Am I going to be able to get through this?
Absolutely.
And what I hope to do is give parents faith and hope and strength to face that journey, because I do believe, you know, the term special needs child, well, the parents that parent special needs child are special parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe we're chosen. And I want to empower them for the journey ahead. Give them a little pat on the back and a little boost psychologically to face what's coming in the future. And so that's what my talk's about.
And you're a very empowering speaker. I mean, I was talking about you behind your back to somebody the other day and saying, what a remarkable person you are. And, you know, you meet all kinds of people on this journey, all different kinds of parents, but I think that your story is both rooted in a lot of similarity that a lot of us can relate to, and yet you have some very interesting, unique things about your journey. You're certainly not the only parent who adopted a child, but it's a very interesting aspect.
I had many struggles in that my husband's cancer, my husband had cancer. That was a big struggle for us. It necessitated us having a child through in vitro or doing infertility treatments. Then that didn't work. I talk about all the things, including a horrific adoption scam we went through. And then finally, my dream happened. And after one blissful year of having the perfect baby, things changed.
And it is amazing. Your journey is amazing because you were 100% clear you wanted to be a parent. And I know when I've heard her speak, and I want you to go and hear her speak, whether it's at this event or at another event, but it's a really emotional, cathartic thing to hear you speak about how badly you wanted to be a parent. And we don't want to give things away, but the moment in which you were given the option of being Wyatt's parent.
It was a pretty remarkable day. And then I think the important lesson too is that when I look at parents in the audience that come to hear me speak, I see really a lot of pain and a lot of feelings of inadequacy. And what I want to say to every parent out there that's listening to us, that's trying to learn more about autism, that is really, because every parent of a child with autism is fighting a battle, because it's a battle to get services and to get treatment. And I want them to know they're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You're a good mom. You're a good dad, and keep it up. And they're not told that enough. They're not. They're not given that reinforcement. You're doing okay. And just to give them that kind of confidence to face the journey ahead. So I hope you'll come hear me if you're listening. And it's in Pasadena, as we said. I'll be speaking at the lunchtime session at the 7th Annual Back to School Autism Asperger's Conference at the Pasadena Convention Center. And there's lots of other great speakers, lots of other great speakers.
Absolutely. And we'll keep people posted if they're not in the California area, because you speak around the world, really around, literally around the world. So we'll let people know when you have other upcoming events so that you can go and catch Nancy live and in person, because it's worth it. It's really worth it. And if people wanted to have you come and speak for their group, they can contact you.
They can contact us at ACT Today. They can email info@act-today.org. They can connect with me. The website, they can also go to Nancy Allspaw Jackson, all one word, and email me. And they can call us at 818-705-1625. And I'll say that again, 818-705-1625. And I'm happy to talk to, and it doesn't have to be autism. I grew up with a brother with Down syndrome. It could be facing any, as a special needs, any challenge as a woman, primarily, I think, as a parent, and I can come in and talk about a range of subjects.
You're great at empowering people, and in particular empowering women, and at all the different times in a life when a woman needs to be empowered. Nancy does wonderful work with people in terms of facing, changes that come about age.
Midlife. I've written 2 books. One called "Not Your Mother's Midlife," a 10-step guide on. A 10-step guide to fearless aging. And I always say there is no such thing as fearless, it's fearless. And then, Fearless Women Midlife Portraits, which was a photo essay book with a lot of kick-ass women in it that prove that over 40, in my worldview, over 40 is the best time of life. I mean, we may have the strong bones and joints and smooth skin and the pumping hormones when we're younger, but 40 and over, the wisdom is pretty cool.
Well, and thank goodness you're sitting next to me so that you can tell me these things.
I'll lead the way for you, my dear. You're a lot younger than I am.
Oh, heavens. But, we're constantly making it so cold in here because I'm one hot flash away
now
from losing my mind.
You're facing the Big 5-0.
The Big 5-0, and we're going to do a fundraiser. I'm just sorting it out to figure out, because I want to raise some money for autism care and treatment today.
Which is just great.
So
great way to celebrate.
50, and what's the alternative, right?
Right, there is no alternative.
50. Might as well make some money to help somebody along the way.
But we're all living longer, they say. So to me now, 50 is just that you're closing the first half.
All right.
You got a whole other 50 years to go, Shannon. Think about that.
That makes me tired
Does it
right
make
now.
You tired?
That makes me tired right now.
You know what? Maybe you're gonna have a life of leisure maybe the last 30 years you could just go hang out on an island somewhere. And
I don't know. I'm one of those people that has to stay busy. I don't know.
I know.
All right. In any case, as this show ends, Nancy and I want you to know that the conversation continues. There are lots of ways that you can get in touch with us, and we really look forward to your comments, your questions, the suggestions about what you want to see on the show.
Yeah.
If you want to be a part of the show, if you want to come in and sit with us here in the studio, if you're local, or you can Skype in with us, you can. Emily is starting to show you some of the different ways that you can interact with us.
Lots of ways. Technology is amazing today,
Lots of different places that you can watch us. We hope that you will, because this is a conversation, and we look forward to your input in it. And you add something to the conversation that is absolutely essential. We really can't do this without you, and we want to serve you. Is that not correct?
That's true.
Absolutely true. So we're going to be back tomorrow, and I haven't even mentioned that on tomorrow's show, do you know who we're having is Zev and Justin from The Amazing Race. So that's going to be tomorrow is the day that they can come in. So until then, give your kiddos a hug for me.
And catch the joy as it flies out the window and door.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.